to bad decisions. So the discussion is really just about, you know, going from the process of the person that you were into growing to the person that you ultimately want to be. And somewhere along the way, you're going to come to a crossroad. And the crossroad is where you're going and then where you ultimately want to be, or where you are and then where you want to be. Because something just isn't in alignment. And by alignment, it's just you're just not being consistent in the different things that you're doing. So if you're not in alignment, it's going to make it harder for you to be able to continue to do the things that you ultimately want to do. And because I like the align, I like words and definitions. So alignment is the arrangement in a straight line or in correct or appropriate relative positions. So if your goal is to get the plan, it to get to your goal over here, and you're here, you can go up and down all day, and you may be eventually be able to get there. But you're getting derailed. You're getting off track by going up and down in these different curves. Whereas if you go from point A to point B, you're in full alignment and you're going to get there faster. So, are you married to bad decisions? Because the bad decisions are what's going to get you off track from the ultimate goal that you want to get to. And a lot of times, what gets people off track is really not even having a goal. Because you can really be scatterbrained, you can have all of these big ideas, but if you never truly, figure out exactly what you want to do, then you can get lost and go anywhere. If you don't have the goal in mind that you want to have, you really need to be able to have a goal. But sometimes in life, actually most times in life, your goal changes. And your goal is going to change based on the environment, what's going on around you, what's going on with those external factors of your life that you don't have, or you have limited control of, or limited or a lot of control. So what are some things that you have control of that may change your goal? Getting older, you don't have any control over that. But you do have control over, what you're doing as far as your family. So if you're having kids, if you have if you're taking care of loved ones' kids and you're taking more time out, is going to ultimately change the goals that you have when it comes to fitness and health. And then when it comes to fitness and health, the more people that you have around you, the more that you have to find balance between the two, or more, or among the more. So just fighting the economy between the two, or that balance between the two, you're going to have to realize, okay, maybe I need to change my goal in order to really fit into the situation. I know when I was going back home in college, there was, I took a year off from school to be able to save up to be able to go to grad school. And what I had to realize is that what I was doing at the dorm is going to have to be different than what I was doing at the house, specifically when it comes to food, health, and wellness. So usually, I will be able to, leave my proteins out. I'll be able to leave the entire jug out and then just do it whenever I wanted to when I was at college. However, when I got home, I needed to be more considerate of my mom and dad. And thankfully, they had a pantry that was big enough to be able to hold my container. So every time that I cleaned, that I prepped, I had to make sure that I put everything back. I didn't have a cabinet that I could easily, just bring out right there or leave it on top of a cabinet. And that just changed the goals. But my ultimate goal remained the same. It was just the path changed. So if a plan fails, don't change the goal, change the plan. And this is exactly what I did going from college to going back home. So I still did my proteins. My goal was still to be able to put on mass. However, the way I went about it changed. And that changed because of the environment. Something that, I had control of, because I could have, stayed off and, rented with some of my friends to be able to save up money that way. But I wouldn't have been able to get to my other goal, which is be able to save up as much money as possible. So I would have been limiting myself in one goal if I would have been spending money, and then I may have been able to get closer to my other. Actually, I probably wouldn't have been able to get to my other goal. So you have to make sure that your goals are in alignment. So I had two goals. One goal was to be able to save up for college, and then the other goal was to be able to still be able to put on muscle. Both of these require money and time, and because I was trading time for money. I was working a job. I had limited amount of time, so thus I needed to save money. And the way that I saved money initially was by going back home and staying with my parents. So then there'll be $500 at least that I'll be able to save per month. And I was able to do this for the course of a year. Thankfully, I got a scholarship. I forget what it's called. A graduate assistantship. That's what it's called, where you actually have to work for your pay. So thankfully, I was able to get that because I had another goal, and that was to be able to pass the GRE and have a high enough score. And thankfully, I was able to do that. So I was studying for the GRE. I was studying. I was still wanting to work out to put on muscle because I came a long way. And then number three, I was able to save money as well for grad school. So all of these things were in full alignment when I was, working towards a goal. And you can do multiple. You can have multiple goals. However, if your goals are not in full alignment, if they're not in alignment with each other, it's going to take you longer in order to reach whatever goal that it is. Because all of these things were consistent in everything that I was doing because I wanted to save money, because I still wanted to be able to work out. By saving the money, I was able to achieve all three of these things at the same time or simultaneously. So, what are some things that you can bundle together that can help you achieve your goal? Uh, the good thing about bundling is because I know we like to go shopping, we like to go out, but usually you get better deals like the more you buy. So usually there's different deals like 2 for $5. People get like 3 for $7. So the more that you buy, the cheaper it gets per item. And the more items that you're able to bundle into whatever goal that you have, the easier that is, or the less energy that it's going to take in order to achieve it. So you can think of energy as money. So because you only have so much energy that you can give out per day or at a time, that if you're going after, 5 things that are going along the same way, it's going to be easily accessible. It's like, playing, there's like a video game, and I'm pretty sure there's like different things, but if you think about Sonic and Hedgehog, if you think about the route that you had to take in order to get to the end of the level, you followed a path of rings, and sometimes the rings will be close to each other to where you will be able to navigate and get all of the rings. But sometimes there'll be like a loose ring, like somewhere else, or there'll be like a group of rings. So there'll be like four rings over here, and then there'll be a path of like whatever amount of rings. And depending on the decision that you made, you will be able to get more or less. And you can think of these rings as goals. The closer that they are together, the easier that you'll be able to get to them and achieve them. But sometimes there's going to be a lot of goals over here that don't necessarily serve your purpose in order to get to your main goal. So you have to really make split hair decisions, like in Sonic the Hedgehog, and be able to know which way that you're going to go, whether you're going to go left or you're going to go right. Because one of those paths may be more, it may be more rewarding, but then it also may be more challenging. So it's going to have risk associated with it. And with the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But it depends on the goal that you're going to have, because sometimes you can do something that gets you completely off track from your ultimate goal that has you risking everything. Just like in Sonic the Hedgehog, if you hit an item, you can lose all the rings, you can lose everything that you gained, and then you got to start all over again. All right. So again, you want to be able to accumulate all of these different rings without getting sidetracked and being put off the ultimate path that you ultimately want to have. Okay? So, when you're in the middle, just like in Sonic the Hedgehog, you want to make sure that you understand your goal. And by being in full alignment, you'll be able to achieve that. And the way that you get into full alignment is that you understand your intention. And the letter I is a straight line. You have to understand the type of person that you are internally. That's the N word from intention. Internally, you have to know the person that you are on the inside, and then that can help you navigate your way on the outside world. Because everything that's on the outside first comes from within. So from within, so without. So going on your health journey, as I was going back from before, the environment changed because of something that I had some control of. But sometimes you're not going to have many things that you that you're not going to have much that you. There's going to be certain times that you have limited control. For example, if you get or somebody else gets into a car accident and you're alongside in the car with them, let's say that that you had fallen asleep and you had gotten into a car wreck. Well, if you had sustained an injury after that to no fault of your own, and you had hopes of being able to, I'm not going to say go to the NFL, but let's say you wanted to be a pro tennis player. I just want to use something outside of the usual. I don't want to say basketball player, football player. That's been done time and time before. But let's say that you had high hopes and dreams of going into the Wimbledon, that you wanted to, you know, it's not a triple crown. I don't forget what it's called. Win a grand slam, and the grand slam is when you win all four of the major titles in one calendar year. I want to say either in one calendar year, or you read them, or you win each of them consecutively. So you start off in the spring with the Australian Open, and then you follow it up with Wimbledon. With yeah, in the summertime, actually not the French first, and then you follow it up with the Wimbledon, and then the U.S. Open. When it comes to, it's around it's not Veterans Day, but it is Veterans Day. So around Veterans Day, there's going to be the U.S. Open in New York. So if you're able to win four of these titles in one calendar year, you have won the Grand Slam. So if that's your ultimate goal, you know that you will need to be healthy. You know that you would have to be able to reduce injuries, and then you need to be at peak performance, at least better than any opponent that you're facing. So you have to be better than the other opponent that you're facing. And these rounds consist of the round of 32. I want to say it's like 5 rounds. So within these rounds, you have to be able to win 5 matches. Actually, not 5 matches, depending on your gender. But you have to be able to win 5 matches over the course of how many ever days, whether it be like 2 weeks or so. And you have to do it consecutively over the course of months for these tournaments that are taking place. So if you were to get into a car accident to no fault of your own, now you have to do some rehab work so then you can get back onto the court, whether it be grass, clay, or a hard court. So you have to really just be able to navigate and be able to get through. Now, if you are married to a bad decision, like you want to train, 5 days a week, like you just came off of an injury, training 5 days a week isn't sustainable at the same caliber of level. So sometimes you have to divorce your previous ways in order to adapt and change, or what I like to say is adjust and readjust. And when you adjust, you're just changing the plan in order to get to the same ultimate goal. So you may not be able to get to the goal this year because of the incident that happened. However, by you being consistent and being patient and disciplined, as I like to say, you'll be able to navigate your route in order to get to the goal that you ultimately want to get to. So for you, what goal do you have in mind in order to achieve? And not the goal that you had when you were 18 years old, because 18-year-old you was in a whole different environment. Most 18-year-olds, they weren't paying their own bills. They Some people had a job, but more than likely over the course of time, you are more likely to get a job or that was higher paying, that had more responsibilities than before. So the 18-year-old you making decisions is different because the outcomes are different. The game is different. You don't have as many responsibilities. You don't have as much external factors going on as the 18-year-old you did. Okay? So you have to really take that into consideration. You just can't, you don't want to be high school you. All right? You have to take responsibility and ownership for different things that's going on in your life. So if you are, post graduating, the first thing that you'll, you know, hopefully intend to do was to be able to go get a job. By getting a job, it secures you financially to be able to, at least live, 2 weeks out in order to build, financial security. So then you'll be able to get a house, but then even with that, it's going to require some other things. So even your goal is going to have other, I don't want to say side effects, but little side missions. If you think about side missions in the game of like RPGs, and you have the main goal, but then you have a subset of goals that need to be hit in order to really make your goal really come to life. If you want to have a house, you got to be able to pay the the mortgage, the light bill, and if you want internet, you're gonna have to pay for internet too. So with things come responsibility. So 18-year-old you, they just looked at, okay, I just need to be able to make this much money and then I'll be able to afford this. However, when you get to that and then inflation hit too, now you realize that you have to make more money. And if you were making a decision at the 25-year-old to the 18-year-old, you may have done things differently. So you may have told 18-year-old you, hey, I need you to don't go to school for this because you're never even going to use it like most Americans do. And by having an understanding of, making better decisions of like how it can impact the future based on future you can then be in fuller alignment for your future. So in the goals that you're having, there's different ways that you can be able to, really just be able to hit and attain your goals. And the main thing that I personally recommend is when you're going after your goals, don't go after the goals for today. That's not the only goal. Okay? So just like back when I moved at home, I had 3 different goals: save up money, work out, go to college, or go to grad school. So I had 3 things in mind. I had a short-term goal: save for college. Number 2, still be able to, actually a long-term goal was to be able to work out consistently, build muscle, save money, yeah. And then my short-term was in long-term ish or mid-term was to be able to save money. So my short-term was to be able to go to college. My mid was, save the money. Actually, that goes interchangeably, short and mid-term, because it lasts for about a year. Then my long-term goal was to be able to put on muscle and be healthy for the, continue for the rest of my life. My end game is to be able to be healthy and fit for the endurance for the remainder of my life. So by lifting weights, being consistent, doing yoga, stretching, this was able to help me remain to be consistent. And from that day, I was working out 5. What was I doing? 5. It was either 5 or 6 days a week that I was working out because I started off doing at-home training, doing P90X, and then I eventually got a job at the Vanderbilt Rec Center, which I enjoyed, but I still did the workouts in the morning time, and then if I went to work, I was studying, so I was able to study while I worked, get paid while I saved up some money. So it worked out very beneficially, especially since I was able to save up all of that money because I had the graduate assistantship. So everything worked for my greater good. And that's what happens when you bundle all of your goals in together. making sure that this is making sense to you all. So just take a few moments and really just focus on what goal at the end of your life do you want to have? What's the end goal in life? Personally, my end goal was to be able to play with my grandchildren. Even though I don't even have a child, I'm thinking futuristically. Down the road, what is my end goal? Why am I doing now? Why am I doing things the way that I'm doing them now? What's the end goal? And that's how I'm looking. I'm looking futuristically. I'm looking 50 years down the road. How am I living now that's going to help me into the future? And by thinking about it so far ahead, there's little steps that I need to take. Instead of if I was, thinking about, 10 years from now, it's gonna look like a steeper climb. But the further away that you get from the picture, it's gonna become like more. It won't look as steep. But going from a year to year ago, it's going to look grand. But if you look at the long end of the picture, it's not going to look as steep because you're taking these step by step nuggets. All right. So just take some time out. Really just think about some different things that you are using and utilizing into your life that's going to benefit you into the future. Hopefully you are able to take some notes about where you want to go into the future. Okay? Because again, it's although it is far off as far as the future, it's better to make a decision based on future you than past you. Because the past you is like being married to a bad decision. But future you has your best intentions at heart. The past you didn't know the person that you are now. So use the present you and just imagine that that's the past you. The past you isn't going to make the right decisions. Otherwise, well, I wouldn't say otherwise because you may be exactly where you are because you made the right decision because you're basing everything on the outcome that you wanted. So just think about the end goal at mind, so then you'll be able to really attain any and everything that you so desire. And then with anything that's going on in life, there's always going to be different challenges that are going to be able to come your way. But look forward to the challenge, okay? And the reason why I say to look forward to it, because I want you to be eager. Like I look forward to different challenges, even though sometimes I do shrink. I do. There are some things that that worry me, that really don't, that really puts me outside of my comfort zone. And in those moments, I just think about, okay, what would future you want to do? And then I also think about what kind of person do I need to become in order to have those things. So I think about what does a successful person think? What does a healthy person do? What does a fit person do? And what I do is I use that question as the vehicle in order to get me to the solution. Because you can get to your destination in a myriad of ways. You can walk, you can bike, you can take a car, you can take a plane, you can take a jet. And if you were living in Dragon Ball Z, you'll be able to use instant transmission. So there's many ways that you can get there. And the vehicle is going to get you there faster. But you will never be able to have those vehicles if you never really harness the different skills. So anytime that you first started off on something, you weren't that good. Like you just sucked at it. But you have to be able to suck your way to success. And what I mean by that is you have to suck first so then you can have success later. Okay? So you put the word together, success. You have to suck first and then get to the cess. Okay? So be bad. It's going to happen. Fail fast, but fail forward. And what I mean by that is that when you fail, like a running back, when they're running, or a football player, we'll say, because anybody that has the ball has possession, they're running towards their goal. If they don't make it to get a touchdown, the best thing for them to do is to continue to drive forward and fall forward. So then they can at least get an inch, they can get another foot or yards. So that's why they say that it's a game of inches. because every time that the ball is snapped or the ball is kicked, they're moving inches at a time. And it's the defense's job in order to push them back or to be able to gain possession of the ball. And that's what the game of life is. It's always trying to get possession of the ball, to take things out of your control, to make you play defense instead of playing offensively. Now, of course, you need to be able to have a good offense and defense, and but at the end of the day, the person with the most points wins. So you always want to be able to make sure that you're outwitting life. You're really outwitting yourself because you understand the different obstacles that if you face, the way that you're going to react to it. And it's by positioning yourself to be able to avoid or elude the different challenges that are going to come your way is going to make you more successful. Like if communication isn't your forte, really take some time out in order to develop your communication skills. Either that or find somebody else that can. So it's not who but how. I mean, it's not how. It's who, not how. So find a who that can do your how. Because if you don't know how, it's going to take you a long period of time in order to do the thing. So don't focus on your negatives, focus on your strengths. Because you may be somebody else's how to get something else done. Like for me, I'm able to, personal train, be able to, program. Somebody is really singing. To be able to program food and diets into people's lives to make it more sustainable in alignment to the person that they are. But first, I need to be able to understand that person, who that person is, by having a great sense of interpersonal skills. And by having that, I'm able to really find alignment in other people's lives, so then they can align their food preferences with their fitness journey. Because if the client's goal is to be able to be more athletic, but their life, like they want to do like unilateral drills, and they want to build agility, but their goal is to be able to just simply lose weight. That can help them, but that's not the only way that's going to be able to help them. It can be like a compound of things. It can be one thing that can be able to get them there. But if they want to be able to, but if their goal is to be able to have like this dream shape, I know now I can shut off other things that will be able to help them get to their ultimate goal. So instead of focusing on speed and agility, I can now focus on, if they want to have like a specific scope, I can focus on, Pilates, weightlifting, and cardio that's able to really be specific to really get to their goal. And if it's just overall health in general, just to get them started and going, then that's going to be a different thing based on where they are right now. Because everybody has their own path in their fitness journey, and it may not be the same, it doesn't look the same, but for one, they're going to be a lot further than where they previously were. Now, if you just continue to look at where everybody else is, you're going to see some people ahead of you, some people behind you, but comparison is the thief of joy. So by comparing yourself to others, you're going to see that others are ahead, and that's going to rob you of the joy that you had from success that you've had so far. So had you just been looking internally for the things that that you've been successful at, and just compared yourself to yourself, you will be able to be grateful for where you are right now, because where you were wasn't the same. So it's all about that continual growth mindset, being able to be thankful for where you are, so then you can be grateful for everything that's going to come your way. All right. So hopefully y'all appreciated that. Hopefully you took something away from it, I should say, because isn't that my worry of whether you appreciate it, but hopefully you took something out of it to be able to make it more applicable to your life. All right. So
Recording stopped. Progress.
All right. So, with the homework assignment, what you're going to do, just take a 10-minute brainstorm, nothing serious. You can write it out, you can put a list, and what you'll do is think about what the person from you 10 years ago wanted out of life. We'll say 15 years ago. So if you're 20, you got to go back to 5. So I guess fire trucks and Tonka trucks was what it was all about. I don't know, but so just take that 15 years ago, 15 years ago, and write out the things that they were concerned about, the things that troubled their minds. Okay, so for me, 15 years ago, I was 19. It was going into sophomore year, so I was concerned about going back to school, still being able to, afford college. So I was working really hard, finding different means to be able to, still be able to enjoy college life, still being able to hang out with friends. So I was those are the two things that I was worried about: having money, hanging out with friends, and then also, excuse me, also going into. Let me start over. So I was definitely worried about, hanging out with friends, having great grades, saving money, and then another thing that I was worried about was still being able to put on muscle as I was still working out pretty frivolously at this point. So I was doing a lot of research as well. Those are the things that were on the top of my mind. Okay? It wasn't about a 401k. It wasn't about savings and different things like that as it is now. So take that 15-year-old you. What were those things that you were concerned about? And then also write down the different dreams that 19 year or 15 years ago you had. So concerns and dreams. Those are going to be the two lists. You can take 10 minutes, take 10 to 15 minutes to be able to write them out. Take more time if need be, okay? And then the second thing that you'll do is write down, actually, it's going to be three things. The second thing that you're going to do is write down what present you is concerned about, and then what you dream about. So concern and dream. The CD, concern and the dream. All right. And then the third thing, I'm pretty sure you're going to guess and assume what it's going to be, and you're more than likely going to be correct. What does future you want? What is future you concerned with? And what do they dream? What's the concern? And what's the dream? So go ahead and complete that. Take about 10 minutes each on each phase. And if something comes to mind as you're going through the list, and you're on like number 2 with present you, and something from the person one for 15 years ago comes up, put it in the list, okay? And also put it in different sheets of papers, okay? So on the front sheet of each of your papers, put that you're gonna have past you at the top, concerns on one side, dreams on the other. Page 2, a whole different sheet of paper, not the back side, a whole different sheet of paper. I don't care if it's lined or unlined. Then you're going for number 2 is going to be present you, concerns and dreams on the other side. Number 3, future you, concerns and dreams. Okay, even fill up the front and the back. Go ahead and do that. Okay, put as much detail as you can as possible. And then from here, you'll be able to navigate how you can look into the past and see how the things that you were once concerned about may no longer be concerns. And the same thing is going to go into the future. So you're going to have I don't want to give it away, but the concerns are still going to be concerning, and then the dreams are going to be built up. So what do you think that you're going to be that you're liking each three of these phases from the past, present, and the future self. All right. Enjoy yourself with the activity. As always, you all stay for infinitely fit and for infinitely blessed. I'll see y'all next time.